On the news tonight, former Akwa Ibom Governor Godswill Akpabio emerges Senate President of 10th National Assembly. Federal government rates Ondo best performing southern state in NG Cares program. Kidnappers abduct Kaduna Catholic priest as military airstrikes kill dozens of terrorists in Borno. And from the foreign scene, ex-US President Donald Trump defiant ahead arraignment by prosecutors. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7. I am Obi Chukwemeka Oti. Senator Godswill Akpabio, representing Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District, has emerged the Senate President for the 10th National Assembly. He had 63 votes to defeat his rival, Senator Abdulaziz Yari from Zamfara West Senatorial District, who garnered 46 votes. Akpabio, who holds a degree in law from the University of Calabar, served as a Minister for Niger Delta Affairs under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari from 2019 to 2022. He was the governor of Akwa Ibom State from 2007 to 2015. In the same vein, the senator-elect representing Kano South Senatorial District, Jibrin Barau, has emerged the Deputy Senate President. Barau was nominated by former governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, and seconded by the lawmaker represented Kwara North, Saliu Mustafa. He accepted the nomination and emerged Deputy Senate President of the 10th Assembly unopposed. Having emerged unopposed, the clerk to the National Assembly, Magaji Tambowal, declared him the Deputy Senate President. Meanwhile, Tajudeen Abbas has emerged the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The lawmaker representing Zaria Federal Constituency was picked in an openly declared ballot system by members of the House. He polled a total of 353 votes to defeat fellow contenders Ahmed Wase and Sani Jaji, who polled 3 votes each. Moving on to other stories, efforts of the Governor Akeredolu's administration in implementing the NG Cares program, which focuses on supporting communities and individuals affected by the socio-economic challenges faced in the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic, has earned the government #1 in southern Nigeria and the 3rd best nationwide. The federal government conferred Ondo State government with an award and certificate of achievement as the best performing state in the southwest and 3rd overall in the country, as validated by the Federal Gas Technical Committee and approved by the World Bank. According to the first independent results verification exercise, a total of 56,161 poor and vulnerable people drawn from the 18 council areas of Ondo State benefited from the first implementation cycle of the program in the state. While celebrating this milestone, Governor Akeredolu has reiterated his administration's commitment to sustained progress and inclusive development. The Ondo State House of Assembly has acknowledged the letter of medical leave from Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. Speaking through the lawmaker, Speaker of the House Olamide Oladiji explained that the governor had embarked on a 21-day leave for medical treatment abroad from the 7th of this month to the 6th of July. Oladiji said the leave extends to the 6th of next month due to the public holidays on June 12th and Eid al-Kabir celebrations on 28th and the 29th of this month. The Speaker added that Governor Akeredolu, who directed his deputy Lucky Ayedatiwa to assume the position of acting governor of the state while away, has assured of his resumption on the 6th of July 2023. The workforce of Ondo State government has been tasked to be more diligent in the discharge of their duties. This according to a National Productivity Merit Award recipient, Mr. Chris Kolawole, who spoke at 13th edition of the State Head of Service Interactive Program with Osrc Change Ambassadors, will enhance effective service delivery. Osrc Zaid Aribisala reports that the state head of service, Mr. Kayode Ogundele, enjoined workers to be solution providers.
It's the 13th edition of Ondo State Head of Service Interactive Engagement with Change Ambassadors under the Ondo Service Improvement Program, Osrc. The program is designed to enhance effective service delivery among the state workforce in various ministries, departments and agencies of government. In his welcome address, Administrative Secretary, Reform Office, Mr. Adewale Omomewo, said Osrc, through regular training of officers, is emplacing Ondo State Civil Service as the best and cynosure of all eyes.
Let me use this opportunity to remind our change ambassador that you all need to intensify effort in educating, enlightening and sensitizing the entire public servant across all MDA tenets of Osrc. Let me reiterate that as change ambassador, we have a lot on our hand as we are supposed to be the cream, the light cream, and the pivot of all reform activities and initiatives so that we can get it right and make Ondo State public service the best among its people.
The head of service, Mr. Kayode Ogundele, in his interaction with the personnel, said the increasing dynamism in society requires more from the public service, and as such, government's premium on their training must be reciprocated with action.
Training without monitoring, without evaluation, will be waste of time. You must evaluate the effect of your training. You must be able to know if this training is actually having its required effect in the way people respond to challenges and in the way people carry out their tasks, assigned tasks.
After the opening formalities, a retired permanent secretary of Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Chris Kolawole, took the center stage with a lecture on impact of planning and control in effective service delivery. Mr. Kolawole, a recipient of National Productivity Merit Award, tasked the officers on citizen-centric approach to service delivery.
So everything we do must be to ensure that we meet the needs of the citizens. But if you carry out your citizen survey, then you'll be able to get some ideas of what the citizen thinks.
The General Manager, Ondo State Waste Management Agency, Mr. Adefolaju Omowole, educated the change ambassadors on waste management and approaches to attaining sustainable environment.
It's just a pointer, more or less like an example of the kind of service that public service should be rendering to the public, the attitude and the way and manner such services should be rendered.
We are made to understand that we have customers and that the citizens are customers. That you are in a particular office and you are privileged to be in that office does not mean that you just need to act negatively to customers.
No matter the way we do our job, there is always room for improvement. That is effective service delivery.
Which made me to understand that for somebody to be able to deliver effectively, there is need for him or her to plan and control the processes.
According to the Reform Office, performance appraisal for the change ambassadors will be conducted to further evaluate the transmission of various lessons garnered. Sahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
Youths in the 18 local government areas of Ondo State have been tasked to elect vibrant and youthful leader as governor of the state come 2024 general election in the state. A coalition of Ondo State Youth and Women Leaders Assembly made the remark at a forum to prepare the youths for the first leadership seat in Akure. Addressing the gathering, chairman of the group, Basiru Bimbo, appealed to all youths in the Ondo State to strive hard and achieve this for youths in other states to emulate. Others who also corroborated her said nothing will stop them in achieving this goal. The meeting ended with a call to mobilize every youth in all the 18 council areas of the state for the task ahead.
We, the members of the coalition of Ondo State Youth Leaders and Women Leaders from all the 203 wards in Ondo State, in conjunction with other interest groups, are resolved to deliver all the 18 local governments in Ondo State for a vibrant youth who is eminently qualified and capable to tackle unemployment, insecurity, economic crisis, and who can build more on the legacies of present and past administrations in the state.
You're watching the news at 7. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll serve you more stories. Please stay with us.
A peak protein breakfast gets you up to a great day. How do I know? Because my daddy goes to his work feeling good and always with a smile. Mommy is always filled with confidence. My sister is always in tune. And for me, learning new things becomes absolute fun. That's because all day and every day, the peak goes on.
Start your day with a peak protein breakfast. Peak. Reach for your peak.
Hey, Iskili, báwo la ti fẹ́ sanwó ni? Farabalẹ̀. 1,000. We go wash plate tire o. Farabalẹ̀ now.
Madam, èló lówó wa?
Brother, na 3,005.
Màá fún yín ní owó òpè káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Bring your phone.
Ha! 10,000.
1,000 naira credit. Now you dey turn to 10,000.
No. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you. Now what go tell?
You're welcome back. You can also watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on our Facebook page OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Now to the rest of the news. As Nigerians join the rest of the world to mark the 2023 International Albinism Awareness Day, stakeholders have pleaded with government to ensure implementation and enforcement of policies and legal frameworks that protect rights of people living with albinism. They advise that deliberate efforts must be made to ensure protection, inclusion and equal treatment for them in various aspects of life, including access to education, employment opportunities, healthcare, participation in governance and social engagement. The global event is observed every June 13 to raise awareness about albinism. The theme for this year's observance is Inclusion is Strength, with the primary objective to promote inclusion of persons with albinism across all areas of life. Guinness World Records has confirmed Nigerian chef Hilda Bassi the new record holder for longest cooking marathon by an individual. According to Guinness World Records, Bassi officially broke the record for the longest cooking marathon with a time of 93 hours 11 minutes. Bassi had attempted to set a record of 100 hours. However, almost 7 hours were deducted from her final total because she mistakenly took extra minutes for one of her rest breaks early in the attempt. During a waiting period, another Nigerian chef based in Ekiti State, Damilola Adeparuse, announced a 120-hour cookathon, but her attempt has been met with a mixture of applause and criticisms. To crime-related stories, Ondo State Security Network Agency, Amotekun Corps, has rescued 16 passengers kidnapped along Ishua, Akoko in Akoko Southeast area of the state. Commander of the Corps, Adetunji Adeleye, while parading the suspected kidnappers, said the Security Network Agency also rescued 2 persons from kidnappers in Oge. OSRC Zaid Aribusala reports that among the 17 suspects paraded is a 42-year-old man who allegedly raped a 9-year-old girl in Akure.
17 suspected criminals arrested in various parts of Ondo State by operatives of Amotekun Corps are lined up for parade at the agency's headquarters in Akure. The suspected criminals were apprehended for various offences ranging from kidnapping, robbery, cultism and murder. Commander of Amotekun Corps Adetunji Adeleye, while parading the suspects, said prompt reports to the agency by well-meaning individuals have been crucial to the success of its operations.
We also arrested one of the kidnappers who confessed that the 4 other gun-wielding members of the gang fled. The joint operation involving men of the 32 Artillery Brigade, the Nigerian Police, the Civil Defense, and the Amotekun Corps. This involves an 18 passenger bus. And to the glory of God, we were also able, without payment of any ransom, to release the 16 victims.
One of the operations carried out by the Corps resulted in the rescue of 16 passengers kidnapped along Ishua Akoko, while the Corps also busted some kidnappers while evacuating their victims who were farmers in the Okioge area of the state.
There's a strike of kidnappers in my community, and immediately I heard of that, I had to call the SSA and security matter. I like the demon who assisted me to connect the Amotekun Corps. So, and immediately they moved to the area. So I think that is the only reason why my people were saved yesterday.
Dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn àjọ Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn. Immediately tá bá ti pè wọ́n báyìí tán bá ti gbọ́ bóyá ṣe náà ń fò ní òwá ògbọ̀n torí tàná ibà kò tẹ̀ ìṣẹ́jú 5 sí 7 wọ́n ti bò wá ọpẹ́lọpẹ́ wọn ni náà sọ̀rọ̀ àdì gbogbo igbó yẹn.
Adeleye, however, raised the alarm over the unusual influx of herdsmen into some communities in the state, urging residents to remain vigilant while going about their duties.
The criminals, my candid advice is exit of the state, no hiding place.
Amotekun Corps also paraded a 42-year-old man for allegedly defiling a 9-year-old girl in Akure, the state capital. Investigations revealed that the suspect had sent the girl, who is the daughter of a neighbor, on errand to buy soap, after which he lured her and allegedly carried out the act.
You put your hand on what?
According to the Corps, the suspects will soon be arraigned in court for due prosecution. Sahida Ribisala, West House News.
Elsewhere in Kaduna State, the parish priest of Holy Trinity Catholic Church, Karuku, in Kaura local government area of Kaduna State, Reverend Father Jeremiah Yakubu, has been kidnapped by gunmen. Chancellor of Catholic Diocese of Kafanchan, Reverend Father Emmanuel Okolo, said Father Yakubu was kidnapped from the parish rectory in Kauru local government area. While calling for an intense prayer for the quick and safe release of the victim from his abductors, the Chancellor also appealed to the parishioners to refrain from taking laws into their hands. He assured parishioners that the church will use all legitimate means to ensure the quick return of the kidnapped Reverend Father. In another development, about 100 Boko Haram terrorists have been killed in coordinated military airstrikes in Mandara Mountain, Borno State. This followed a one-week aerial bombardment carried out on the fringes of Gwoza Council area, a border community with Cameroon. A counterinsurgency expert in the Lake Chad region, Zagazola Makama, disclosed in Maiduguri that the airstrikes were carried out over the weekend in Hraza and Waduwede communities. Makama added that high-value terrorists were killed, while others fled with injuries sustained during the bombings. The military confirmed that the two communities were meeting points of the terrorists from where they launched attacks on Gwoza and other border communities. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS Election Observation Mission, has trained and deployed observers to Guinea-Bissau for legislative elections. The observers were trained on the rules, ethics, and communication mechanisms for the success of the observation mission. They comprise 75 observers drawn from the ECOWAS Permanent Representatives Committee, member states, foreign affairs ministries, and electoral management bodies, civil society organizations, the media, and trained election observers. The mission called for peaceful elections, respect for the Constitution, and the need to ensure transparency and fairness in the conduct of the election. The deployment is in conformity with the commitment of the authority of ECOWAS heads of state and government to deploy observation missions to member states organizing elections. Moving now to the foreign scene, a team of experts in Spain has begun work to exhume the bodies of more than 100 civil war victims from a huge basilica complex near Madrid, where fascist dictator Francisco Franco once lay. The 15-strong team of forensic experts, archaeologists, scientific police, and odontologists will search for some 128 victims of General Franco's forces during the 1936 to 1939 conflict. Akintunde Akishimala is here with an update.
Forensic scientists have begun the exhumation of 128 victims of the Spanish Civil War. The bodies will be exhumed from the former mausoleum of General Francisco Franco, just outside of Madrid. The war took place from 1936 to 1939, the beginning of Franco's 4-decade dictatorship. Spain transitioned to democracy following Franco's death in 1975. The operation is the first involving people whose bodies were moved from other parts of Spain after the war and reburied without the family's consent in a monument built by Franco. As the exhumation takes place, the country is heating up for a divisive early election. It's likely to make Franco's dictatorship a topic of passionate discussion as Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez seeks re-election. The remains of some 34,000 people, many of them victims of Franco's regime, are buried anonymously in the crypt of the basilica, which is carved into a mountainside northwest of Madrid. Relatives have been fighting for years to give their loved ones a burial under their names and near their families. Passing a law that makes it possible for relatives to identify victims who are buried in about 2,400 unmasked graves around Spain was one of the first policies implemented by Sanchez when he came to power in 2018. The rival Conservative People's Party has opposed the so-called Law on Democratic Memory and vowed to repeal it if it wins power in the July 23 vote. The process of identifying the remains could take weeks or months, meaning the result will probably be published after the election. Akintunde Akishimola for Osrc News.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump has arrived in Miami a day before his first appearance in federal court to answer to a 37-count indictment alleging he willfully mishandled classified documents. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez and Police Chief Manny Morales held a press conference on preparations for today's hearings as officials anticipated potential violence as well as major traffic delays near the courthouse. Now to Australia, where at least 10 persons have died and 25 others are in hospital after a wedding bus crashed in an Australian wine region north of Sydney. The passengers were returning from a wedding at a winery in the Hunter Valley, where their coach overturned near the town of Greta. Police have charged a 58-year-old bus driver with 10 counts of dangerous driving, which resulted in death. Akintunde Akishimola again has an update.
A deadly bus crash in a part of Australia known for wine and weddings has sent shock waves through the country. Police said at least 10 people had been killed with dozens more injured. The accident took place when a chartered bus carrying wedding guests rolled off a ramp at a roundabout in the Hunter region north of Sydney and flipped on its side. New South Wales Assistant Police Commissioner Tracy Chapman said Police had been working on identifying everyone on board, but fears more passengers may have been trapped beneath the overturned bus.
A 58-year-old man, the driver of the coach, was taken to hospital for mandatory testing, and he's now at Cessnock Police Station and currently under arrest.
She also said heavy fog was present at the time of the crash, but the cause had not yet been determined. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese offered his condolences for the victims of the tragedy.
All of us know the joy of going to a wedding, a chance to celebrate dear friends and family. They are some of the happiest times that you can have. For a joyous day like that in a beautiful place to end with such terrible loss of life and injury is so cruel and so sad and so unfair.
Local residents expressed shock over the accident. The crash happened shortly after the wedding at the Wanding Valley Estate Vineyard. The vineyard has put up a sign saying it was closed out of respect for the victims of the tragedy. Akintunde Akinshimola for Osrc News.
To round off the news at 7, here again are the major stories. We told you that former Akwa Ibom Governor and ex-Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs Commission, Godswill Akpabio, has emerged as Senate President of the 10th National Assembly. In the same vein, Tajuddin Abbas was elected the Speaker of the House of Representatives. You also heard that the federal government has showered Ondo State government with accolades as the best performing southern state and the third best in NJCA's program. No fewer than 100 Boko Haram terrorists have been killed in coordinated military airstrikes in Mandara, Borno State. And from the foreign scene, we told you that U.S. ex-President Donald Trump is to appear in court shortly to face 37 charges laid out over his handling of classified documents after leaving the White House. And with that, we conclude the news at 7. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good evening.